Good morning, APA, and welcome to this week's Assembly. Today I will be talking about women in sport, a subject which, unsurprisingly, is very important to me. It was very difficult to pick what or who to talk about, as there are so many inspirational stories and women in sport today. The Williams sisters have dominated women's tennis for over 20 years and changed the way women's tennis is played forever. Billie Jean King, who took a stand against unequal pay for male and female tennis players in the 70s. Nicola Adams, the first ever female Olympic gold medalist in boxing. Jessica Ennis-Hill, Kelly Holmes and Katarina Johnson-Thompson, who are all and are world beaters in athletics. I could go on. High-profile, successful female athletes have not always been commonplace in our society, as you will see throughout this assembly. The religious quote for this week comes from Buddhism. Those who are free of resentful thoughts surely find peace. To me, this means to try and avoid looking at what other people have or do with negativity. If we focus on what we don't have or what we can't do, we will always be unsatisfied. Once we can focus on all the good that we have and all the good that we do, we will feel much more fulfilled. What I will talk to you about today is relevant to all our values, but one in particular: the courage and ambition to unlock and fulfill their potential. All the athletes that are idolised throughout the world have managed to fulfill their potential. They committed to their ambition and worked relentlessly in pursuit of their dreams. The value that resonates most closely with today's assembly is individual liberty. Individual liberty is the right to believe, act, and express oneself freely. More and more, we are seeing women in sport doing incredible things and inspiring the next generation. This, however, was not always the case. Women were not always afforded this liberty and were banned and excluded from competing in sport. There is still a vast gap in the opportunities for men and women in sport. Much of this, unfortunately, has to do with money. But there are still some people and cultures that believe women should not take part in sport. I will now show you a video about Kathrine Switzer. As you will see, she was and still is a trailblazer. It's thanks to people like her that young women are afforded similar opportunities in sport to men.
Of the 30,000 who ran the Boston Marathon today, perhaps no one was prouder than the woman wearing number 261. She earned that number half a century ago. Don Daler introduces us to a true road warrior.
It's a simple concept. Place one foot in front of the other for 26 miles, 385 yards. But until 50 years ago, half the population were not welcome to participate in marathons. Then on a cold April morning, 20-year-old Kathrine Switzer changed everything.
In '67, did you set out to shatter the glass starting line?
I was just a girl who wanted to run. I had proved to my coach I could do it, and I was just there to celebrate.
Other women had run the Boston Marathon, none officially. Her coach's one condition, that she register as a contestant.
Nobody believed a woman could or would want to run. So that why even consider it?
A few miles into the race, an official named Jock Semple spotted her.
I turned and I suddenly looked into the face of the angriest guy I'd ever seen. This guy was out of control. He was snarling at me.
This now iconic series of photos came to represent a female athlete's struggle to compete.
He grabbed me and he screamed, "Get the hell out of my race." I was just terrified. It was out of the blue. My burly boyfriend, who was running alongside, 235-pound ex-All-American football player, took out the official just like that and sent him flying. And my coach said, "Run like hell."
Switzer crossed the finish line that day and never stopped running. Following her example, women all around the world took up the sport. Today, at 70 years old, Switzer ran her 40th marathon.
The higher reason now is not to prove that women can do it. The higher reason now is also to show, frankly, that an older person can stay active and healthy. I want to celebrate in the best possible way.
5 decades after first crossing that finish line, Catherine Switzer did it again. It's a simple concept. Place one foot in front of the other and change the world. Don Dahler, CBS News, Boston.
Catherine Switzer was an amateur runner, a very good one, but she did it purely for the enjoyment, and like everyone else on that start line, wanted to enter the race to challenge herself. Unlike everyone else, she was discriminated against because she was a woman. It's hard to believe that this was the accepted view at the time. She was at university and had to train with men all the time because her university didn't have a female running team. As a result of Catherine's actions, women were banned from competing with men for the next 5 years. Since that day, she has inspired hundreds, if not thousands, of running clubs across the globe. She has become a best-selling author and in 2015 launched her organisation called 261 Fearless. 261 because that was the number she had on her t-shirt when she ran the marathon. This organisation helps empower women in communities across the world through running and embracing a healthy lifestyle. Catherine broke barriers that day and continues to inspire people across the world with her story. The video only shows a snapshot of her journey. Running a marathon is something most of us will never do. It takes a huge amount of effort, dedication and resilience. Her journey epitomises many of our pillars. She showed fierce independence, as she was the first woman to ever attempt to run the Boston Marathon. She had a community around her that she shared her goal with, and together her team achieved what they set out to do. Training for a marathon takes months of hard work. She was clearly very committed to her training. Finally, completing a marathon takes an enormous amount of effort, not just on the day, but in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the event. I would now like you to all reflect on what your marathon is. I'm not asking you to go out and train for one, but consider what your goals are. What do you want to achieve? What does success look like to you? Do you have a particular career or dream job in mind? Is it that you want to see the world? Do you want to drive a nice car? Or do you want to be a professional athlete? Whatever your dreams are, it's important to consider how you get there. What grades do you need to achieve to study the A-levels that will unlock further opportunities to study and lead to that dream job? Consider who is going to help you. Who is in your team? People at home, your teachers here at APA, your friends. These all form part of your team. Make sure to share your goals with them, so like Catherine and her team, you can all work together towards them. There will always be things along the way that will challenge you. The current situation we all find ourselves in is testing all of our resilience. But if you focus on your goals, it will give you motivation to keep going. You have all shown great resilience adapting to a completely new way of learning. Hopefully it is not for much longer, but until then, keep demonstrating your commitment, independence and effort in every lesson. Thank you for listening.